Hello from Aotearoa, New Zealand. This is Glenys from the Key of Truth Academy, and in today's video I'm going to start a series on healing, introducing the concepts of healing, why it works and what it does and what's the purpose of it. And by the end of the series I want to introduce a self-healing practice that I use and that I want to teach people. Now, there's lots of healers out there and there's lots of alternative therapies. But by God, it's expensive. And I know this in my journey. I've spent thousands on different forms of healing and learning different ways of approaching healing. And I found that this method that I'm going to talk about in this series to be the best one for me, because it's free and you can do it whenever you want. I mean, healers are awesome and they do amazing, beautiful work. But you can't ring them at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're crying your eyes out and things have gone wrong and you're stressed and you're freaked out. And so you've got to learn how to do these things on your own, and so that's what I'll talk about in this series. The need for healing comes from experiences that you may have had as a child that cause trauma or unhealed wounds, stress, anxiety, fear, depression, and especially if you experienced major trauma such as sexual, emotional, physical, mental, or spiritual abuse. And a lot of us have been through those experiences, and it's been really hard and it's been really tough. And when those experiences happen and you have a whole bunch of emotions come up, it's most likely that you block them all and repress them all back down again. And so when emotions are unacknowledged and are not managed effectively and are not allowed to be expressed, then they become blocks in our mind, body, spirit. They block our emotions, they block our energy, they block our development as children and as adults, and they cause issues in all areas of our lives when they remain unhealed. And so that's where the need for healing comes from, and it's really important to do that work to clear yourself. So once you look back at your life and you see that there's been a lot of experiences that created trauma and most likely means that you've had unhealed wounds, then it's about deciding what kinds of healing formats that you want to use. And there's many different forms of complementary and alternative therapies. But when you're looking at trying to heal your unhealed wounds, what you're wanting to do is find healing formats that adjust the wounds, the original childhood wounds, at an energetic level, rather than a counseling, psychology, talking about it type of level. Because it's only when you find a way to alter the energy of what happened that it creates real change. And that's ideal to find energetic forms of healing in whatever format that feels comfortable for you. One of the formats that I found really useful in my healing is The Journey by Brandon Bayes, which is a book that you can find online or at a local bookstore. And Brandon Bayes talks about a process or meditation of forgiveness. And it takes you through levels of emotion and then helps you to learn to forgive the situation that created the wounds inside. And so I went through that process and I paid healers to go through that. But as time went on and I'm like, I can't afford to keep paying for this, I learnt my own forms of forgiveness and wrote out a worksheet for myself, which I'm going to give to everyone free. Because, mate, if you're just at home and you're with the kids and you can't get out and you can't have the money to go to healers, then you really just need something that you can do when it suits you. Another resource that I found useful was a book called Radical Forgiveness by Colin Tipping, and this goes into the mechanics and concepts and principles of forgiveness and why it works and how to put it into action. And so forgiveness is a way of setting yourself free. Whether it's someone else or yourself that's created the wounds inside you, forgiveness is one way to complete healing at an energetic level that forgives the other person, doesn't say it's okay, but forgives them in order to set yourself free and allow healing to take place in your mind, body, spirit naturally of its own accord. And so it's a process that you can do with other people or that you can do by yourself. And what I've done is created my own worksheet, which I'm going to provide to everyone so that you can continue your healing practice as well. I'm also going to mention one healing technique that many people find useful, which is emotional freedom technique, which is a form of tapping and using affirmations to set yourself free from blocks and beliefs. Now, this is freely available on the internet. You can find information. You can just Google it and see if it works for you. I can't use this method, though I would if I could, because when I'm tapping the lines that EFT says to tap, it's really painful for me. So if you're sensitive and energy sensitive like me, then that may not work for you, but it works for a lot of people, and it's quite effective and it's quite immediate. And so if you want something that's easy and quick, then the emotional freedom technique may be for you. And you can find information online. I recommend it because people find it effective. I just can't use it, but I still think it's a great way to do your healing. So I've created a free healing guide, which you can find at the link in my bio, and the forgiveness worksheet that I've created alongside that has questions which are asking you to explore what's going on and how you feel and what you think. Because it's not until you allow yourself the chance to express what you're thinking and feeling, then you won't get to the bottom of what's really going on. And what you're really wanting to do is find the emotions that are behind what you're feeling today. And those emotions often come from years of habitual thinking and habitual ways of being and seeing and thinking. And so when you complete the forgiveness process, it is a way to interrupt what has always happened in your mind and body and spirit and allow healing to take place. And so it's a really effective way to do your healing on your own, at your own time, and in your own space. Although I've provided a free link in my bio for a healing guide that includes a forgiveness worksheet, there are many other forms of healing out there, and so the best way to decide what form of healing is going to work for you is to research. Look it up. Look up the different forms of methods that they're using and really feel into your body about whether this is what's right for you. There's some therapies that are pretty mild, such as counseling, and there's other methods that are pretty far out there, like oxygen chambers and all sorts of things. So find out what works for you, what you might like to try, and also what you can afford, because I mean, it's just hundreds or sometimes thousands of dollars to see people, and I'm like, that's just not doable to spend thousands of dollars every time you want a healing. And so that's why I promote the forgiveness process, because you can do it by yourself at home when you need to. The ideal time to focus on your healing is when your life is stressful, chaotic, confusing, your emotions are all over the place and things are crazy around you. And the reason for that is that our world, our universe, is a mirror of our inner thoughts. And if you've never heard that before, it might be a little bit weird, but that's how we're the creators of our own reality. So when you go inside, step back, look at your thoughts, beliefs, feelings around what's going on, and change that through forgiveness or any other form of healing, then it begins to change the circumstances around your life. When you heal those wounds and close up those holes and make yourself whole, then your life changes to reflect the inner changes that have happened. And so that's probably the best benefit of healing. And also, once you heal at this level, you go to the next level and heal that level, and that's how evolution continues on and on through our lives. And so that's the best time to do healing. Once you've done your healing work and done your forgiveness, the other part to the healing process is reinforcing your positive thoughts. So obviously, if you're doing healing and you're doing forgiveness, then you're having a set of thoughts that may be negative, that come from your unhealed trauma, and so that will create a set of habits and beliefs that are not serving you, that are limiting. So the other thing you want to do alongside your healing forgiveness work is to focus on creating positive affirmations that are the opposite of what you were thinking. For example, you know what, I don't feel like I'm worthy of love. Then you can repeat to yourself, I am worthy of love. I love and accept myself. I love myself exactly the way I am. You know, so you release the old and then you reinforce the new. And so there's many ways to reinforce the new, and affirmations is one of them. Reinforcing your new thoughts can take many forms, such as affirmations. You can also use vision boards songs, videos. There's lots of YouTube videos with lots of affirmations on them. So choose one that suits the area that you're focusing on. For example, whether you're looking at self-love or healing your body or healing relationships. There's heaps and heaps of meditation affirmation type videos on YouTube. So find lots of different ways to continue to reinforce the positive. I know on the spiritual journey, when it's been long and hard and difficult and painful, it can be really hard to be positive. And so finding as many ways as possible to focus on joy and gratefulness and happiness as you possibly can is ideal, because you never know when those painful times are going to come back. So focus on love as much as possible. The other part of the healing process is that it's a lifelong thing and it's never ending. So everything that happens to you as a child is recorded in your mind, body, spirit in some way, shape or form. And if you didn't have any way to deal with those emotions or deal with those situations or heal those childhood wounds, then they're all still there somewhere, stored in your mind, body, spirit system. And that's why healing is really important, to clear out all of that stuff. It's like a house that's chock-a-block full of files and boxes and stuff all over the place. So healing starts to clean up your house, clean up the house of your mind, body, spirit. And that's ideal, because you don't want a cluttered up house, because that means your energy can't flow, and that means you can't move forward, and that means you can't get into your life purpose work, which is ideal. So keep doing your healing work as often as you possibly can. I'm going to go ahead and close out this series on healing, and the link is in my bio for the free healing guide so that you can do it when it suits you and in your own time and space. For those who have experienced major trauma though, I highly recommend that you seek some form of help from an experienced healer and some form of energetic healing. And the reason for this is because when you've got really deep unhealed wounds, then it is ideal to walk through that process with someone. And the forgiveness worksheet is fine for anyone at any time, but when you're really wanting to go deep, go real deep, then ideally you will do that with someone who can help you walk through that process, because it's really hard to open up those wounds, and you don't want to do that alone, and you want to make sure that you keep yourself safe while you're doing that healing work, because it's really important.